Welcome to Well Drafted, an architecture and design podcast. Creative, crazy, and curious. Hi, I'm Shrina, an aspiring architect, and this show is here for us to connect. I'm your host for the show. Come join me as I take you through an array of architecture and design discussions. We have Avishi Jariwala, who has graduated with a bachelor's in interior design from SET University. She has been running her own practice in the last 3 years, where she majorly focuses on architecture, interior design, and typologies including residential, commercial, and retail projects. Simultaneously, she is also pursuing her master's from De Montfort University, London, with master's in interior design. So, hi Avishi.
Hello, hi.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling very excited and very nervous. This is the first time I'm doing a podcast.
Okay, so what do you feel about your field? Are you excited that you are officially an interior architect now after so many years of hard work?
I think this field is very exciting and it's something where you learn new things every day. There are a lot of new products coming in the market. Lots to learn, lots to explore, and a lot of people, different people that you're going to meet throughout your career.
Is it something very similar that you expected when you were a student?
I think as a student, I had very different dreams of what I would be doing after my bachelor's, but I think eventually after my internship, I have taken a different path altogether.
Yes, that's true. So let's come down to the topic that we are here to discuss today, the major debate of what, architects majorly do and interior designers majorly do.
Okay.
So you can go first, and why don't you tell us about the concepts that you learned as an interior design student, the kind of subjects you took up.
Okay, fine. Okay, so basically there's a lot of misconception regarding architecture and interior design subjects. So what architecture students learn is everything that's to do with an outer shell. While what interior design students learn things that are to do with the inside, like the space planning, technical details of the furniture, lighting, flooring, services like plumbing, electrification, and a lot more. And covering the studios that gave us all sorts of experiences and the subjects that we studied. So I'll just brief. History was one of the subjects that we had for 9 semesters that stayed with us throughout. We had subjects related to textiles where we learned about upholsteries, different types and qualities of weaves. Then we had entrepreneurship and design where we dealt with the business aspects and what students can look at from a business point of view. Because design does not go, it goes hand in hand with business. Then we had a weaving workshop where we had hands-on experience on the handlooms. Design ethnography where you learn to map the behavioral patterns of people and do intense case studies to learn what one needs before they start designing a space. And then we had a lot of studios where we covered retail, institutional, commercial, adaptive reuse, etc.
That's perfect. That's a lot of things covered together. But something that you started with is very important, right? That architecture deals with the outer shell, the box of the project.
Correct.
So where we can say, maybe if we have the site where the box will be placed, what will happen with the box, where the windows will come, where the doors will come, and the interior deals with everything happening on the inside. But don't you think as an interior designer that we always had to work together as a unit? Because let's say I've put my windows in the room somewhere, but then the interior designer comes in, right?
Correct.
And then they come up with complaints, this layout is actually not working out interior wise. So the role of, I think, interior designer and architect starts being very important together.
It's very parallel. And one needs to understand that architecture and interior are not two separate fields. They run hand in hand. The interior designers need to look at the structure, what and where the doors and windows are placed. That's the basic. Then the space planning comes into picture where you have to arrange what you want, what the requirements are, and then you discuss and go back and alter your architecture layouts.
Right.
Also, you need to know the structure. You have to be well versed with it because the services like electric points, your HVAC layouts, all of that goes hand in hand with the structure. So you need to be well versed with that as well.
So like you said, the topics that all the topics that you dealt with as a student, even we had history. But I think the difference that started playing was maybe certain topics that you were taking in were more focused on studying the interior of the space, like you said, that elements of space making, as we say in our field.
Correct.
Whereas architecturally, history, we were studying a lot of periods that were coming into picture, Renaissance periods, Islamic periods, and the kind of influence that architecture did to the community and culture. Now, I've always felt one thing: you, as an architect, we have also to deal with the larger idea of community and let's say the site that there is.
Correct.
What would that factor be for an interior designer? What becomes the center concept of all your designs as an interior designer that you have to take care of?
Okay, so there are two major things that I feel one should take care of when they are starting a project. One is the context of the architectural site, and two, the people who are going to occupy the space. Like you said, community, architecture deals with community, and interior design deals with the people who live in the community.
Yeah, that can be put. So the scale goes down.
The scale goes down because it's a very personal space. It depends from person to person, from what they want to what they want in their house, who they are as people.
Can you tell us an interesting interior project that you did as a student, and then we can go on to your professional project?
Okay, so in my 4th year, we had an adaptive reuse studio where we had a very old school in the old city of Ahmedabad, which is in Mirzapur, RC College of Commerce, and we had to convert it into a 5-star hotel.
Okay.
And because the structure was very British, it had a lot of arches, it had a lot of moldings, architraves. There was a lot of challenge that we faced when we started to design in terms of interior, because we had to take care of the structural stability. We had to take care of the architecture, and we had to make sure that the interior reflected the architecture.
Yeah, that is an actually very interesting project. I remember being a part of your discussions in this, and it was very well done also, right?
Thank you.
But yeah, so now tell me a professional project you would like to elaborate on, that is one of your favorites. I can see you've done a plenty, but
I think you already know our favorite project. It's called the Veranda House.
Yeah.
And the Veranda House is basically a weekend home that is situated on the outskirts of Ahmedabad. The only brief that we had from the client was to reinterpret the idea of veranda, the space that is very highly cherished and used in Indian households. And I think because it was a weekend home and because we had a very free hand to design and be as creative as possible, we worked with organic forms that were inspired right from the context, which is the natural environment, the elements of the environment, and their irregular forms, and how we took it into
the spaces. That's awesome. So for someone who wants to become an interior designer versus for someone who wants to be an architect, let's put it one by one. Who I think should be an architect? So I think somebody who is interested in the larger idea. Let's say somebody who also wants to go into subjects like urban design or planning, landscapes, who wants to deal more with the building blocks, as we say.
Right, exactly.
Is somebody who should go for, I think, the architectural field. Whereas, what would you put it as an interior designer?
I think for people who like bare shells that are at an interior level, like you need to be interested in material explorations because that's the most important thing.
Okay.
You need to be interested in different design details.
Okay.
And space planning. I think that's something where your interior inspiration comes from. It's a very, very small, if you're thinking of architecture at a city level, then interior is literally at a very small residence level. So that's the scale.
I think it goes for both.
Yes.
But like in terms of market, like typical professional market, we are not talking about academia, right? And what do you think the market for interior design in Ahmedabad is right now? Should someone think of pursuing it? And if they want to become a successful interior architect, interior designer in the field right now, what should be the way about for them?
Okay. So I think there's a lot of scope because Ahmedabad is now a cosmopolitan city. It's also a metro city. A lot of people are migrating let's say from affordable housing to bigger scale residences, to luxury homes, to offices, to weekend homes, commercials, institutional,
So
retail.
many.
There's a lot of scope. It's a whole big design market here in Ahmedabad.
Yeah.
And I think when you're moving, when there's a shift from your school to your college, you'll not be very sure about what you want to do, but then eventually you'll find your way through.
Yeah. For both of us.
For both of us, yes.
But yeah, but I'd also like to say, like, an observation I have made about the market in at least Ahmedabad. We can't talk about India, but to get an architectural project, it takes years of experience.
Exactly.
Whereas as an interior designer, initially at least, you can always be on your own feet. Like, I appreciate the fact that you are running the full show. You are your own admin. You are your own technician, you are your own designer, you are your own boss, basically, dealing with all the clients. So I think it's great for someone who also wants to have an individual stand, individual say. But yeah, so do you have anything else? That
I think yes, what you said makes sense, because interior projects are very easy to get. Because people sometimes just want to redo a bedroom.
But I think this is a bad notion. See, I'll honestly tell you, interior projects are difficult to deal with because there are so many details.
They're probably even more difficult than architecture is to deal with, because architecture deals with lesser details.
We can't compare. We can't compare, but the details are more
exactly in terms of details. You can, yes.
Because I think as an architect, what happens is you start dealing with a lot of consultancies.
You deal with a lot of services. Exactly.
That goes out to consultants. Whereas an interior, if you are example making a cabinet, I think you have to sit down and detail out the cabinet.
Exactly. So it's just more tedious in terms of time and energy. Otherwise, it's the same thing.
Yeah, that's true. Because consultants, just say I was saying, plumbing comes in, electricians come in. How much do you deal with these consultants?
I think we have a lot of consultants who work with us from project to project. So we have swimming pool on an individual project.
That is very true. So
also we forgot somebody, which is the structural guy.
That is another whole topic.
And we have a project management consultant. So too many people.
There are too many people for both the fields.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I also want to mention that Avishi has a small soft corner for textiles in interior designing.
I do.
So can you explain this connection to whoever is listening, interior design and textiles? Because it has a very beautiful connection from what I understand.
It does. So textiles and design have not been elaborated upon, talked upon in India. People are not aware about how textiles should be used, which textiles should be used, where they should be used, and why they should be used. So there's a lot of scope, you can say. Sometimes you don't need to use the typical materials like glass, you don't need to use wood. You can always have textiles replace those. It's a soft material, it's flowy, you can have it transform your spaces very easily. And then when you're looking at the artifact aspect of it, you can always use it as a soft furnishing piece in your accent piece in your home.
It's a very cultural element that comes
and it has a very strong connection with the culture of India.
Of course. And you do tend to explore a lot in that.
We use a lot of textiles in our projects. Yes.
So nice. I would like to wrap it up now. Hopefully this was well drafted by both of us. And
we definitely well drafted in college, but we are not sure about this.
No, we don't. Okay, so thank you, Avishi.
Thank you, Shrina.
Okay, bye.
Bye.